challenging times of our lives. As an artist collaboration, we've given shape and depth to some of the most complicated topics of our time, making them easily accessible for those who seek to understand. We've given voice and space to the stories that often go ignored. Please take a moment to consider being a patron, make a donation, or join Rockfin. Thank you. Well, hello there.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, we're back with another.
Morning.
Yeah, good morning. We're back with another Pullquote.
Yes.
And we're excited about this one. We had to reschedule once, but we'll talk about that because it was kind of important for our guest to go take care of something. So we'll talk about that a little bit. Our guest today
is Sean Gibson.
Right, somebody who's local, who lives here in Pittsburgh, and he is the director of the Josh Gibson Foundation. But let me just read what I have written already for you. Sean Gibson is the director of the Josh Gibson Foundation in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Sean is the great-grandson of Josh Gibson, who is considered one of the greatest home run hitters, most featured sluggers of any era, and called by many the Black Babe Ruth. Josh Gibson played for the Homestead Grays and the Pittsburgh Crawfords. Both were Negro Leagues. He died in January of 1947, just before the color barrier was broken. Sean's foundation is dedicated to the legacy of his great-grandfather and to the education and physical education for youth in the Pittsburgh region by providing academic and athletic programs that foster leadership and scholarship. Welcome to Pullquote, Sean Gibson. Hi.
Yay.
Hey.
Hey.
It's so nice to see you again.
Same
we are
here.
so thrilled that you're here with us today.
Yeah.
We like you.
Thanks for having me.
I think the last time we saw you was outside the grocery store.
Oh, right. We ran into you in the grocery store. Yeah. Where did you want to start? There's a few different topics we'd like to cover.
Sure. Well, you asked about travel, and Sean had to travel back in August to make a speech for the National Baseball League, or the Major League Baseball. So what was that all about?
Tell us what your latest travels have been about.
Yeah, so when I was there, it was probably minor league baseball. I was traveling to different cities representing Josh Gibson and the Negro Leagues. And we were going to different minor league ballparks, putting on their Josh Gibson Negro League tribute nights. So I've been to Birmingham. I've been to Madison, Birmingham, Madison, Alabama, Hartford, Connecticut, Washington, Wild Things, South Carolina, to the Charleston River Cats. So it's been a great run to be able to go to these small market cities
Yes.
and teach them and educate them about the Negro Leagues. And so it was a great run. I apologize. The last time something came at the last minute, I had to fly out. But it was a great year to educate the community, as well as these small little pockets of towns that wanted to learn more about Josh Gibson and other great Negro League baseball players.
That's great.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that. That's right.
I think you were going to Florida that particular day.
Right.
When we were originally scheduled.
Right.
Yeah. So actually that was the Vero Beach. So I was actually going to Vero Beach, which is the old Dodger town.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. The Major League Baseball has an RBI program, and the RBI holds their World Series there. And great facility. And I was there as a speaker about Josh Gibson. So there was over 300 groups of men between the ages of 12 and 17.
Wow.
And so I had opportunity to speak to those guys and educate them on the history of Josh and the Negro League. So that's where I was at Vero Beach, Florida.
Oh, our friend in Florida who we're actually going to be talking to
in a few weeks.
Her name is Judith Turner, and she runs a foundation in St. Petersburg. She just said, "Come to St. Petersburg."
Okay.
So I should probably connect you to.
Yeah,
Probably
definitely.
connect you to.
Yeah.
There
I was just there. I was in Orlando for vacation and we drove down, which is it was about an hour and a half away. We drove down to St. Pete, Clearwater, to the beach.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah, it's lovely over there. My mom lives in Orlando.
Okay.
Orlando area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Winter Park.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
We was over in there. Our complex was called Champions Gate. We were close to Universal.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So, okay, well, let's back up a little bit, because I think our audience would like to know more about your foundation and what it's about, and some of the initiatives that you have going, and just fill people in on what the foundation is all about.
Sure. So as you mentioned, I'm the great grandson of Josh Gibson. As you mentioned, Josh played in the Negro League. Some people may not even heard of the Negro Leagues, but the Negro Leagues was founded back in 1920 by a guy by the name of Ruth Foster. And as we all know, back then, a lot of segregation that was going on. African Americans were not allowed to play in the majors. And so Ruth Foster was the mastermind to create the Negro Leagues. With that being said, Josh played for two teams right here in the city of Pittsburgh, the Homestead Grays and the Pittsburgh Crawfords. He started playing sandlot ball for the Pittsburgh Crawfords, then started playing professionally with the team of the Pittsburgh Crawfords and then the Homestead Grays. So played 17 years in the Negro League, inducted into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame in 1972, which is actually next year when we celebrate his 50th year anniversary of his Hall of Fame induction.
That's great.
We're excited about that.
Yeah.
And so my grandfather, Josh Gibson Jr., was actually the mastermind behind the foundation.
Okay.
It was his idea to keep his father's legacy alive, and the best way he felt to do that was through a foundation for inner city youth. And so we've been around for about 17 years. We have over 300 kids in our program. Our programs range from athletic programs to academic programs. We have a STEAM program for boys over here in the West End at Pittsburgh Classical Academy. We have a mentoring program called Boys and Men at Langley School. We also give out scholarships to inner city kids. We have a curriculum called BOSA, and which is a unique curriculum because it teaches the kids the business side of sports. So our curriculum comes as sports media, sports marketing, sports law, sports sales, and it kind of gives kids a jump start in that career of sports. And we always tell our students that I understand you may want to be a professional athlete, but if that doesn't happen, you can still be involved in career in sports as well. So we're very excited to have our programs. If anybody's listening and want to learn more about our programs, then go to our website, which is joshgibson.org. But it's great for myself there to carry on the legacy of Josh Gibson to the young people.
Yeah, we're going to
let me bring up the screen right now.
Bring up the website so people can see it.
Yeah, let's see. There it is.
There it is.
All right.
So
Yeah,
that's the website.
Yeah.
So please go to the website, support the foundation. I think that.
So can I say something real quick? So that's
sure. Yeah.
That one. So this slide, that's Blackish, as you just saw.
Right.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So Lawrence Fishburne and Anthony Anderson had a conversation, and they were talking about Josh Gibson. So that's why that clip is there.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, that's amazing.
So it was on there, that TV show?
It was on that TV show.
It's on Blackish.
The conversation was more or less about Josh Gibson hit the furthest ball in Yankee Stadium, but yet he still called the Black Babe Ruth. Yeah. And so it was interesting to hear that on Blackish. And, it was just, one of my friends and partners, he made a good statement. He said, this is the summer of Josh. There was so much going around with Josh Gibson this past summer. And that was our theme this year. It was called the Summer of Josh. So it was great to see a lot of things with Josh on the movie screens, on the television screens. We also had an MVP Card Art Challenge tournament. As you saw, the winner, Jose Teleferre, who was the winner of that out of Canada. It was over 75 artists involved in this campaign and 6 from other countries. So it's been a great run, and we're very excited about everything that's been going on with Josh Gibson right now.
Wow, that's a good segue into what's going on with his MVP.
Sure.
Status.
Well, before we go there, I just wanted to mention I like that you are incorporating the business side of sports into that curriculum. And the reason I bring that up is because I studied both art and well, to some degree, music in school, and never realized, that I needed to know something about, the
Marketing.
business side and marketing, like basically a small business, training in order to operate or to, work as a working artist. I learned that much later in life, not in school. And it was always, since I, started my own business, which was not an art business, it was a design business years ago. I always wondered why they never did that, in the arts world, because,
it's
so necessary.
Yeah.
And I think that by bringing that in, as you said, you may not be a professional athlete, but there are plenty of opportunities within the realm of sports that you can, that you can, get work in. It's really amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the whole concept, because, we are a sports organization, and we didn't want to reinvent the wheel. So we wanted to do something for our youth that can give them that sports background, but be involved in, because everybody, don't get granted, everybody wants to be that next Josh Gibson or that next Franco Harris or that next, Ben Roethlisberger. But we all know the reality is a small percentage that's actually going to make it to the professional ranks.
Right.
And our goal is that, okay, you can have that goal, but you can still be involved. I mean, you can still be an agent, a sports commentator, a field maintenance crew guy. You can still be involved behind the scenes in sports and still be recognized. And it's been great, because it's funny, because we've had certain speakers come in and speak to our kids, and some of the higher upper management that's in the NFL or the NBA or the NBA, they get the same championship rings as the player does. And so it's exciting to see that, and our kids get excited about that. But it's definitely a great curriculum, and it's also college credit. They get credits to college universities on this curriculum. So it really teaches the kids, like you said, give them that other avenue of, and I always tell them, if you do make it, right? Say if you do make it, you still got to have a career to fall back on.
Well, exactly. Well, just knowing about that, is really important, because I don't think that a lot of kids understand, that there's these other avenues, other channels that they can find their way into within the realm of whatever it is they're interested in.
Right.
I think on a, more existential level and on a broader scope, opportunity over the years, over decades, has whittled away. It's opportunity for people to reach their full potential and be, a valuable participant in the economy has been taken away. So these kinds of foundations, bring that opportunity back into people's lives. So and that's one of the first things that drew us to you is opportunity. That it sort of levels the playing field a little bit. I think it's really important to have that.
Did you want to get to the MVP?
Yeah, let's talk about the MVP situation with that.
Yeah, so just to give you an update, so this is our JG MVP T-shirt that we wear. Our hashtag, you probably can't see it, but our hashtag is JG20MVP. And this started, people always ask, how did this campaign start? It wasn't something that I woke up one day and said, hey, let's try to get Josh's name on the MVP award. Last summer in 2020, there was an article by a writer named Ben Walker, and he was interviewing some of the former MVP players, which was Terry Pendleton, Barry Larkin, and Mike Schmidt. And at that time, there was a lot of things going on in society with the whole Black Lives Matters movement. A lot of the statues are being taken down of generals, and different monuments were being removed. And they decided that they wanted to make a big push to remove the person's name on the MVP award. And that name is Kennesaw Mountain Landis. Kennesaw Mountain Landis was the commissioner of Major League Baseball at the time, who denied African Americans an opportunity to play baseball. He denied over 3,400 African American men the opportunity. And so at that time, the Baseball Writers Association took that into consideration. And then October of last year, they did remove his name off of the MVP award. And so reading the article from Ben Walker, the three names they were considering renaming the award after was Branch Rickey, who signed Jackie Robinson, Frank Robinson, who played for the Orioles and was the only player to win the MVP in the American League and the National League. Then, of course, our Josh Gibson. we had no clue that Josh's name was even in the picture.
Wow.
And so once I read that, I took that to my board and my committee and said, hey, listen, we just found ourselves in a race. Let's see how we can win it. So
Right.
that's when we got our marketing team and came up with the slogan, the MVP slogan. We had certain celebrities. We had the Pirates support. Derek Shelton from the manager of the Pirates wore these shirts. It's been a great campaign to be a part of. And also, the most importantly, it's fun. I think the most important part is that whether Josh's name gets on the MVP award or not, is definitely bringing more awareness of Josh Gibson and the Josh Gibson Foundation. So we're very excited about it. And just as I wrap up, we do not know when it's going to actually take place. We thought it was going to take place before the MVP award was given out this year, but we got inside news that the MVP award will not have a name on it this year, and that the discussion will be talked about in December. So hopefully, hopefully sometime next year we will know what Josh is on the MVP award's name or not.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
it sounds like you have a really good attitude. You keep, saying over and over again, the goal is to ultimately raise awareness. Of course, we all want him to be,
Right.
Yeah.
MVP, but we understand that the goal
And we
is
do have a website, JP. You want to pull it up? Our website, it's on the main website too, but it's jg20mvp.com.
Okay, let me bring that up. Hang on a second.
jg20mvp.com is our website for the MVP campaign. There's a petition on there. You can go and sign a petition if you support it. But that is our campaign website that tells you all about the campaign, all the people being involved with the campaign, and things of that nature.
Okay. Good.
Okay, I'm bringing it up right now, and then let me
and
share.
Let's share that screen.
Yeah.
That's actually a really cool looking website.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's see, there it is. That one right there, the second one.
Yeah.
And then share that, and
All
there
right,
it is.
great.
You guys see that? Okay.
Yeah.
So jg20mvp.com. Make sure you go there and check that out.
.com or .org?
It's
.com.
.com.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
All right. Well, that's quite the story about that. So it kind of took everybody by surprise.
And up in the right corner by our logo, that's where you can sign the petition if people is interested. But we always tell people that go through the website, hear our stories. If you feel like Josh is a great candidate, sign the petition.
Right.
That's great.
Got it. Okay.
Oh, I see. So it brought up another tab. Okay.
Right. So it brought up a
tab. That's why I didn't see it, because I'd have to bring up another.
Yeah.
So
but if you go to the upper where it says sign the petition, you guys just click there and sign that petition.
Yeah.
So
right.
Excellent.
Cool.
Okay.
That's great. Well, yeah, that's pretty exciting. And for you to find out through the the press or the media, just kind of like stumbling upon it, that's pretty remarkable too.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. What was something else? You had a follow-up question, I think.
Well, I think we could probably talk. Do we still have you, Sean?
Yeah, you were frozen a little bit, but I'm good now.
Okay. There you are.
There we go.
Okay. It was probably all the clicking around with the different tabs.
Yeah.
It sometimes interrupts the feed.
Yeah.
But let's talk about some of the local stuff here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
There was a situation with a multi-use facility.
Which is basically how we met you.
Yeah. Just to give us a teeny tiny background, the Josh Gibson Foundation wanted to open up something called a multi-use facility in the neighborhood that we live in Pittsburgh, in the Pittsburgh area where we live. And, I felt very passionate about this idea for very personal reasons. I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I was a disabled child for, the majority of my childhood. And it was a multi-use facility that allowed me to integrate with able-bodied children so that I could still play sports and play games, and even though get some exercise, but more importantly, be around people who didn't judge me based on my my disabilities. And so I felt that was what the multi-use facility that you were hoping to get built here, that was going to be a large part of it, that it was really going to integrate the able-bodied community and the disabled-bodied community together to help with, the stigmatizing of the disabled community. And so I was ready to take to the pulpit and get this thing rolling. But unfortunately, the evil local Mr. Potter, who, if you know the
It's a Wonderful Life
reference, the guy with all the money, kind of put the kibosh on it. And at that point, we were discouraged. So we want to know, what's going on with that. Is it looking at other locations or what?
Yeah, so just to recap a little bit for your audience. So there was a project we were looking to do, a multi-use called Josh Gibson Baseball Academy, which is going to be an indoor facility along with a miracle field for disabled children to be able to participate on, in a regular sized Little League field. About a $10 million project. And it was going to be a project that was going to, like she said, host disabled as well as able. And it was going to be a great venture. And local politics got involved. We had the plans, we had everything ready to go. But local politics got involved. A couple community residents, a couple business owners got involved, and the plan got stopped. And so it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth. I did not grow up in McKees Rocks, but I grew up about 5 minutes. I grew up over near Broadhead Manor, Westgate Village. And I always wanted to do something to give back to my community where I grew up at. And so that was the whole purpose of trying to bring this to McKees Rocks, because I grew up 5 minutes from McKees Rocks. And when it got shot down, it was very disappointing because, everybody talks about they always want something for the youth. We want something for the youth. But when you have an opportunity to bring something to your community that's going to help not only the youth, this was going to be a true community center. It's going to be for youth, adults, and seniors, whether you're able or disabled. And so to me, it was very disappointing that the project did not work. But moving forward is that we are still looking for some land to do the project. It's still our dream through the Josh Gibson Foundation to do a miracle field. I just had a meeting with the Pittsburgh Pirates about 2 weeks ago. They don't oversee the miracle fields, but they do fund them.
Right.
And I've been very big on that. All the miracle fields right now are in the suburbs. They're all in the white suburbs. Mm-hmm. And so in the inner city, and I feel like there are disabled kids in the city of Pittsburgh who like to participate in sports as well. Mm-hmm. And so I'm still pushing for that. We have some things in mind, some plans in process to see what happens. But, getting back to the whole thing, though, McKees Rocks, it's sad because, it'd been it was a great location.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Couldn't beat the locations, and then it was sad that it didn't happen. And to me, it was more about how they went about it. You know what I mean?
I agree. Yeah.
Sneaky backdoor. We all know the story. And it was just sad that, I'm a straight up the front blunt person. You told me from the beginning, hey, listen, this ain't going to work. Okay, fine, let's move on. But don't drag me along. And drag me along.
Yeah.
Have me prepare drawings and plans and all this stuff. And then you get a resident who lives in the area. Then you get a business owner who has some pull. And all of a sudden, this is not a great project. So, but we'll definitely keep you posted on a future project.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I just wanted to put in that, it was NIMBYism and, conflicts of interest that really, I think, pushed the political decision-making probably more so than they should have. But also the thing that I loved about it was using an area of this community that was highly underutilized. I mean, most people refer to that field not as its name, but as, the goose toilet, because the Canada geese basically, flock there and
just hang out.
And hang out, which is fine. But, but the other thing is that corner of the town or the area is that, there was a bus stop like 2 or 3 blocks away, flat ground, so that it's basically wheelchair accessible.
Yeah, it was.
There was room for parking. Yeah. There was lots and lots of space for doing what you were intending, and it was
Couldn't ask for a better location.
I know.
Yeah. By the way, just in case people don't know, NIMBY is the acronym for not in my backyard.
Yeah, and that was literally a NIMBY attitude.
Literally,
Yeah.
like not in my backyard.
Yeah,
so
it's like you'll block my view of
the geese.
The geese, I guess.
Right. The stuff they were saying didn't make sense, but
Yeah.
Well, so you said you're still searching for a new area, and we're hoping that you find that soon.
Yeah, and this meeting that you had with the Pirates 2 weeks ago, that means things might be progressing in the right direction.
We've had several meetings with the city, with the URA, look at some land. So again, this is still one of our top priorities.
I'm glad.
And I'll say this too: the McKees Rocks days. Honestly, it kind of motivated me more. You know what I mean? So not to say I wasn't already motivated, but it just let me know. And I think, honestly, if I was to go to another meeting with another council, I'll probably do things a little differently. I think it was a learning process with the McKees Rocks Borough. I can tell you that right now. It was a learning process. Some things I probably could have done differently on my end or whatever, but it was definitely a learning process. And it's going to prepare me even better for my next process, whoever I meet with next time. So,
that's good.
That's cool. Well, before we went on, you were telling us a little bit about where you're located right now, and that is in the Hill District, correct, of Pittsburgh?
Yeah. So we actually have 3 locations.
Okay.
We are a partner of the City of Pittsburgh Parks and Recs.
Okay.
And we that is our main housing is in the City of Pittsburgh Parks and Recs over in the Hill District, which is called Ammon Recreation Center, which has a historical piece as well, because behind Ammon Recreation Center is actually Josh Gibson Field. That's the actual Josh Gibson. That's the actual field that Josh played on for the Sandlot Pittsburgh Crawfords.
Okay.
Right next door to Ammon Recreation Center is a church called Macedonia Baptist Church. Josh's funeral was at that church.
Wow.
Okay.
It is a historical marker right in front of right between the church and the rec center that talks about Josh Gibson being that area. And so that's our main location. Then we also are partnered in the Pittsburgh Public Schools. So we have 2 locations inside the schools, which is Pittsburgh Classical Academy, which is over in the West End, and as well as Langley K through 8. And we have a location there as well. So again, that was my goal, to get back to the area I grew up in. So that's why I started doing programming over in the West End.
Right.
It's been exciting coming back to the area, doing stuff where I grew up in. I went to both of those schools, so it's very exciting. Actually, the principal at Pittsburgh Classical Academy went to high school with me, so we're very good friends.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's something I've noticed about Pittsburgh. We come from an area where not a lot of people know each other very well.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's certain neighborhoods and communities that are very tight knit, like the Chinese community, for instance, in San Francisco. But, for the most part, most people are not born in San Francisco. They come from somewhere else. They don't know each other. And when we got here, it was just remarkable. You'd be riding around the buses and people would get on the bus and they'd start, like, oh, hey, haven't seen you for a while. And they
come to the family barbecue.
Right, exactly. It's like they grew up together or whatever, and they're in like a completely different location.
We never saw anything like that.
Yeah, it was really unique for us.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh, it's that 3 degrees of separation. You know what I mean? It's definitely but yeah. So it's our sites. We're excited. Of course, last year was a pandemic, so a lot of things were on hold. We did a lot of things virtually, but we're excited to be finally back in the classroom this year. Things are still kind of slow. I'm pretty sure you saw the news with people PPS with the bus shortage they have, and also they just. Dr. Hamlet, who's the superintendent, just resigned. I don't know if you saw that or not.
No.
It's been a lot of things with Pittsburgh Public Schools going on right now. So they got a lot of things to worry about, then bringing outside resources in right now. So we're hoping to be starting programming in November, though.
Okay.
All right. Good. Well, you brought up Josh's funeral and then like the neighborhood that he lived in. I noticed that he died very young.
Yeah.
And I found that really very sad, especially given the date, that he died the same year that the leagues were opened up, and that the potential for him to have played in the major leagues was lost in that. if you're comfortable, you want to fill us in on a little bit of that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah. So as you mentioned, Josh died. He was 35 years old. He died January 20th, 1947. And actually, that's the same year, that summer, was when Jackie Robinson got called up and started playing in the major leagues.
Yeah.
So Josh never had a chance to, of course, play. We know that, but definitely never had a chance to see Jackie Robinson cross over. He died of a brain tumor. He had routine headaches that was going on in his head. He never really looked into getting it checked out. And by the time he did get it checked out, it was already kind of too late. So he died of a brain tumor. But yeah, as you mentioned, he died very young. And who knows what would have happened if he had been still living. You know, he'd have been up in age. But Satchel Paige, we all know, started playing in the professional ranks at 42 years old.
Wow.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
but yeah, you know, Josh, you know, as they say, was born too soon. But, you know, he had a great career in the Negro Leagues. He died very young. Unfortunately, like I said, because of the man whose name was on MVP award, Kenneth Landis, he denied those guys that opportunity. And so, but yeah, so, you know, but my grandfather, Josh Gibson Jr., every year after 35, he would always say, "Thank God for another year."
Yeah.
And I always say, why do you say that every year on your birthday? And he says, well, man, you got to realize my father died at 35 years old. Wow. And so I said, oh, I get it. So yeah, he used to always say that. But yeah, he died at a very young age.
Okay.
Well,
that is unfortunate, but especially since it's the same year that he could have.
Yeah, but what I find interesting is that he must have started very young, but also interesting is that, you know, and this is something I think that is very Pittsburgh still to this day, even, you know, after, you know, NAFTA and all the, you know, the things that have taken place economically in this town. But, you know, this is a city of neighborhoods and various communities. And, you know, there's jokes about how people from the South Side have never been to the North Side and vice versa. But, you know, I think it's interesting that, you know, the sandlot that he played in for the Crawfords or the Grays?
Crawfords.
The Crawfords is right next to the church. So did he live in that neighborhood?
Oh,
and did he grow up there?
No, he grew up on the north side.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Over on a street called Charles Street. And if you go up on Charles Street, they have a street named called Josh Gibson Drive.
Really?
Yeah, so he grew up on the north side. He went to public school. He went to Allegheny in a school called Conroy. And actually, Conroy is a school for disabled children right now.
Okay.
But back then, of course, it was a regular school. Then as an adult, he lived in the Hill District.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
So he grew up on the north side. And because they moved to Pittsburgh when he was 11 years old. They came from a small town they called Buena Vista, Georgia. And so that's where he came from. But yeah, he grew up on the north side and he lived in the Hill District as an adult.
Okay. All right. Just out of curiosity, for my own benefit, what neighborhood in the north side?
It's called Pleasant Valley, PV.
Okay. And that's where the school is that you were talking about?
No, the school is closer to Conroy is near Manchester.
Uh-huh.
And then Allegheny is right there by Allegheny General Hospital.
Right. Okay. Which is where the YMCA, I think, is too.
Okay. So
there's a YMCA on the main street.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
All right. Sorry, folks who aren't from Pittsburgh. We were just curious because, you know, we just moved here and we're learning our way around.
Yeah. So what is next for the foundation? I know there's some events coming up. What would you like to tell the locals or our audience about how they can support the foundation?
Yeah, so we just had our one event. So we actually, as I mentioned, last year was a big year for us, even though it was a pandemic year. So last year was actually the 100th anniversary of the Negro Leagues. Negro was founded February 13th, 1920. And last year would have been celebrating our 100th anniversary. But due to the pandemic, we could not celebrate like we wanted to because of the COVID restrictions. So all those events has been pushed to 2021. So this past 2 weeks ago, we just had our Josh Gibson Youth Classic. We had over 6 teams in our classic. And most exciting, though, is that there was a team from Georgia from Josh's hometown, being of Georgia, who took a bus 14 hours to participate in our tournament. So it was very exciting to have those kids there. Our team, through the Josh Gibson Foundation, did make it to the championship. We lost in the championship 3-0, but it was a great game. So it was great to have over 120 kids here. University of Pittsburgh hosted us as a meet and greet. And we also took the kids to the Power Game, which was Josh Gibson night on August 27th. And all the kids received the Josh Gibson t-shirt, as well as the fans as well. So it was great, exciting about that.
That's great.
But coming up, we do have 2 major events coming up in October. October 29th is our Negro League Symposium, where we'll have speakers from Claire Smith from ESPN, Al Oliver from the Pittsburgh Pirates, and Claude Johnson. So we're filling that in. Then we also will have our gala, which would be October 30th at the Wyndham Grand Hotel. At that, we give out something called the Gibson Awards. And those fall in: G is for government, I is for civil service, B is for business, S is for sports, O is for communication, and N for education.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
We give out to local community leaders. And then we're still working on our Josh Gibson Legacy Award recipient, and that's usually given out to a former Major League Baseball player. Our past recipients has been from Barry Bonds to Reggie Jackson to Lou Brock to Juan Marshall and so on. So we're very excited about these events. And, as you guys know on the screen, the last 2 is still coming up August 29th at Duquesne University, and then August 30th at the Wyndham Grand Hotel.
Perfect.
October. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Great.
Great.
Oh yeah. Duquesne. Okay. That's great. All right. Cool.
Wow. So still plugging along. Lots going on. So what else, JP?
Well, I had a question that was on the tip of my tongue, and it just left. It had something to do with oh, I know. So it was 100 years for it. It seemed to me there was something going on last year during, which you couldn't really do much about during the pandemic time, but it's a 100-year anniversary of Josh Gibson entering the Negro Leagues, or what was that?
Yeah, so no, it was the 100th anniversary of the Negro Leagues Foundation.
Oh, okay.
Got it.
All right. Okay. All right.
The Negro Leagues was founded in 1920.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And their first game was May 2nd of 1920. The actual founding date was February 13th, 1920.
Okay.
And Ruth Foster, right. But I want to touch on this. It also was very exciting. So I'm pretty sure you heard about it. But last year also, too, Major League Baseball made a huge announcement. And that announcement was to integrate Negro League statistics into Major League Baseball record books.
Okay.
So that was announced last year as well, December of last year. And so that's been a great situation for Josh, because now Josh should be ranked in Major League Baseball records. And some of their statistics, he'll be number 1, and some he'll definitely be in the top 5 and top 10 in most categories. So
Wow.
The official record books will hold the records sometime between October and November. They may give us an official date. But we're very excited about that now, too, because, when I had these conversations with different reporters and analysts, they will always consider Josh Gibson considered the greatest Black baseball player.
Yeah.
Now you can't say that. He considered him as one of the greatest baseball players of all time, because he will be ranked in some of those categories, like I said, number 1, and a lot of those categories in the top 5 and top 10. So we're very excited that Major League Baseball, and I will say this, we've always considered Josh Gibson a major leaguer. It's just not Major League Baseball is recognizing these guys as major leaguers.
Well,
Right.
when we were promoting the show in past shows, I would say, and I think I read it somewhere, that he's considered one of the greatest athletes in the United States ever in history.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So Josh also, people don't know this, but he also was a great swimmer. He also ran track. So it wasn't just about baseball for him. He did other sports as well. It's just that baseball is one, of course, he excelled in.
Right.
But he was also a great athlete.
I was a swimmer myself, so that's I'm glad, that's cool to hear.
It's really tragic that he died so young.
Yeah, I know.
That's the part that really gets to me. Yeah. Well, it seems like it's coming full circle, though.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And so they're actually going to integrate the records. So they aren't going to have like, columns like, Negro League and
No,
so they're going to really.
An athlete is an athlete.
That's
That's
awesome.
amazing.
That's a great question, JP, because we met with the historian. His name was John Thorne from MLB. And that was some of the questions that the fan, because when they first made the announcement, and that's what it was just an announcement. We didn't even know nothing about it. The family didn't know nothing about it. But there was a lot of questions. It was a lot of questions like, is it going to have their own separate records? Is it going to be integrated as one? Is it going to have asterisk marks next to their names? How is this going to work? And we had about 3 or 4 Zoom conversations with John Thorne, and he assured us that no, once they go in just like everybody else. So it's no asterisk marks. It's no Negro League next to their names. When they go in, they go in. So we were happy to hear that. And like I said, it's going to be exciting. I will say this, Baseball Reference, who's another great database, they already started the process. They did theirs about 2 months ago, including Negro League statistics into their records. So it's going to be very exciting to see when in Major League Baseball uses an organization called Elias. They hold all the records through Elias. They keep their database through Elias.
Okay.
So it's going to be very exciting to see when Josh's name go into his record books where he fall in at. We kind of know already, but we want to see it in the official books, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. And just out of curiosity regarding that, it's one thing for the records. Now, where is the museum? I forget what city the museum's or the Hall of Fame is.
Yeah, no, it's the museum. You're right. So Negro League Baseball Museum is in Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay, that's what I knew it was somewhere like St. Louis or Kansas City. I couldn't remember.
Yeah. Now, of course, the Baseball Hall of Fame is in Cooperstown, New York, but you're probably talking about the Negro League Baseball Museum.
Okay,
Right.
all right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay,
That's in Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay, so that's separate than the what we're talking about because the two groups.
No, that's totally separate. So the museum just preserved the history of the players.
The history of the
I
player.
see. Okay.
The museum. The statistics is through Major League Baseball.
Got it.
Okay.
Right.
So what it is, there's a company called Seam Heads, SEAMS Head, Seam Heads.
Okay.
I mean, they keep all the data. Now, this research didn't happen overnight. They've been doing 20 years of collecting data. It's very hard to get the data of Negro League Baseball players because it's kind of, you got to go through like old newspaper clippings to really collect this data.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
There's no TV, there's no film.
Right. Yeah.
Nothing like that. So there are some record books, but a lot of it you got to go through old newspaper clippings and then reporting it in the news. So this research took a very long time for them to collect. Now, again, they have about 80% of the data. They're not going to get 100% of it all. They think it maybe another 5 or 6% where they can be completed. But Gary Ashwell and Scott Simkis from Seam Heads has done a great job collecting the data, and we're very excited. We're very excited about it.
I imagine that there's a number of archives that they had to go through to.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I mean, and I'll say, and they know these guys. These guys are baseball geeks, man. That's all they do. So believe me, they know what they're doing. I mean, these guys eat, sleep, and drink baseball history, statistics. So a lot of research is involved in this.
That's great.
We don't have a TV. We don't watch us like CNN Sports or anything like that. Has the corporate sports media talked about this integration of these statistics now into the Major League?
Okay, yeah. I mean, even
good.
now, like, so the first thing that I noticed that really kind of said, okay, this is about to really be big. And so on ESPN, and it was with Albert Pujols, who played for the Cardinals.
Okay.
He just hit a milestone. I can't remember what it was, but he just hit some kind of milestone in baseball, right? But then it said at the bottom of the page, it says, let's give an example. He's number 2 at this milestone. But then at the bottom, it says, Negro League number 2 for now until Negro League stats will be included. And when I saw that was on ESPN, I said, okay, well, this is really a big thing.
Yeah.
So once this announcement was made, it was no lie. When the announcement was made, I can tell you the date, it was December 16th. The announcement was made. My phone rang all day that day for interviews. I literally did over 30 interviews between that time and then talking about Josh, because again, what people didn't understand, so Josh Gibson hit over 800 home runs, right? So they thought that everybody thought Josh was going to be a new home run king.
Yeah.
But the way they're doing the stats, they're only counting the games that Josh played in the Negro Leagues, which is only about 300 home runs. And so what that is that in the Negro Leagues, Josh's home run compiled of 800 compiled from Negro League games, barnstorming games. Josh also played overseas, played in Mexico, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic, Cuba. So those are his compiled stats all through the leagues. They're not counting all those. They're only counting the games he played in the Negro Leagues.
Interesting. So the barn,
right?
Sorry, yeah. So the barnstorming games were considered separate from the Negro League games.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So the barnstorming games were against the white players.
Right.
Got it. Okay.
Wow. Ooh,
all right.
Weird.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So that was sort of like a minor league kind of interaction.
No, it was more of an all-star game. It was he would take the best. So Satchel Paige had something called the Satchel Paige All-Stars. And Dizzy Dean had a team called the Dizzy Dean All-Stars. Okay. So Satchel would get the best Negro League baseball players, and Dizzy Dean will get the best Major League baseball players, and they would play each other.
Okay.
I see.
Got it.
Yeah. It was off the record. It was just considered an exhibition game. But majority of the time, the Negro League baseball players will beat those white baseball players.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah,
well,
of course.
It's funny because I'd always heard about barnstorming games, but I never really truly, understood what the whole.
So all the barnstorming was is just black baseball. It's just black baseball players getting together to play the white baseball players.
Right. Wow. That's wild.
Yeah, that is wild. Yeah. Wow.
And then he played in Latin America as well. Then for other.
Yeah. Okay. We got Josh. He right downstairs in my game room. I have his 1941-42 MVP trophy, original MVP trophy from Puerto Rico. He's also in the Hall of Fame in Mexico.
Okay.
He played in Cuba. He played in the Dominican Republic. So there's an article where Josh was going to be sued by the owner, Cumberland Posey, because Josh didn't want to come back. He wanted to stay overseas because, once over there, they didn't have to deal with their racism.
Exactly.
They're all the same color. Cubans and Puerto Ricans, they're all the same color, African Americans. But Cumberland Posey had a contract with Josh and said, well, if you don't come back, we're going to sue you and take your house.
Oh man.
My God.
Wow.
So he had to come back. But those guys love playing overseas.
Of course. Yeah.
And made good money too. So
yes.
Yeah, and I'm sure they got just the respect and the being treated better is there that as we talk about a lot. It's like you don't have to love me, but respect me. That's what I'm looking for.
Right, exactly. Respect.
Well, somebody
that's
made a
fascinating.
It is
actually. I had no idea. I had no idea about any of that.
Yeah, I didn't either. Well, somebody made a comment, Sean, and said.
The person's name is Sean
as
well.
He died too young and should have gone on to the Olympics as a swimmer. Was that actually? That's
an interesting thought.
A possibility.
Yeah, I can see the comments too.
Okay.
I don't know if he was that good as a swimmer. I don't know about that, but he was a good swimmer. But definitely, but I don't know how good, but Olympics is big, but I think his baseball career might have been a lot better.
Yeah.
Right. Well, for a couple of people over here who aren't, we're more on the creative side, more on the culture, cultural critiquing side, and a little bit of politics. We haven't really, like JP and I don't think we've ever even been to a sports game together since we've been together for 7-8 years.
We'd gone to Giants games in San Francisco, but separately.
Yeah, before.
You haven't been to PNC Park yet?
Not PNC Park. So in 1989, I lived in Pittsburgh very briefly, and I got to see Barry Bonds play for the Pittsburgh Pirates. But I'm from San Francisco, so it's I also saw him play for the Giants.
Yeah, me too.
But I haven't been to PNC Park yet. I heard it's fun and great.
It looks nice.
It looks nice from a distance when we see it on the bus.
Well, and Julie's a hockey fan.
A huge hockey fan. I am. It's been decades since I've been to a hockey game. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I lived here, when the Penguins won the championship 2 years in a row. I just happened to see both championship games.
So that was the 90-91 year. I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
She's got hockey pucks, Penguins hockey pucks and things around from that period.
Right. Yeah. So
which was odd because I've never been, much of a sports fan myself, and she showed me this stuff. I'm like, I never would have pegged you for a hockey fan, first of all.
Right.
But
baseball and hockey are my two favorite.
Yeah.
And actually, my interest in baseball and my love of the whole concept of it, it's really chill.
Yeah.
I love going to a baseball
I do too.
game.
Yeah. I mean, of the major league sports, it is my favorite as well, and it's that very thing that she mentioned.
And it sort of came about at a really young age when I lived in Pittsburgh, because in San Francisco, going to a baseball game when I grew up, it was like freezing. It was not.
Yeah.
Because it's cold in the summertime, so it was never really that fun.
No.
At Candlestick
I
Park.
would have never thought that, because you were thinking of the West Coast. You're thinking nice weather. I would never thought that.
Yeah. Well, that's the weird thing about San Francisco.
It's cold in the summertime.
It's foggy and windy in the summertime, and so it could be 30. It could be 63 degrees, but with the wind chill factor, probably feels more like 40.
Right. And the old stadium, Candlestick Park, which was in Hunters Point, which is a neighborhood similar to like McKees Rocks.
Yeah.
Hunters Point and Candlestick Park, I mean, it was right on the bay, so it was freezing. You had to wear gloves and jackets to watch a baseball game in the middle of July. So
I would never imagine that.
Yeah.
So that's why they built a new stadium over in like
downtown,
sort
basically.
of in the downtown area. It's a little warmer. The weather's a little more, it's a better climate.
Yeah, it's out of the wind. Yeah.
It's out of the wind, So,
Yeah.
But yeah, we would love to go to PNC Park at some point and see and have that experience. I think it would be really fun.
What sports? I understand that you went to school locally, and did you
play?
Yeah, did you play something?
Yeah, so I went to Langley High School. I played basketball there, and then I went on to Robert Morris University, played basketball there on a scholarship, and then I ended up transferring to Edinburgh University up at Erie, Pennsylvania, and graduated with a criminal justice degree.
Okay.
And
you played basketball there, you said?
Basketball.
Yeah. I went to school free on basketball scholarship. Never had a loan in basketball. Never had a school loan, I should say.
Good. That's great. Yeah, I love those. Love it when you're not in debt for the rest of your life.
Right.
Like so many are right now. Man.
Criminal justice and then rolling into a nonprofit. So how did that work out?
Yeah,
how did that happen?
Yeah, criminal justice was my major, looking at law enforcement, looking like, U.S. Marshal, FBI type. And then, my grandfather, when I was in college, he started the Josh Gibson Foundation.
Okay.
And he was the one who used to pick me up from school breaks, winter breaks, spring breaks, summer breaks. He would pick me up. We had these conversations from Erie or from Edinburgh back to Pittsburgh about Josh Gibson, about the foundation, and how he really wanted somebody to be more involved in the foundation and take over the foundation. And so I started hanging out with my grandfather, because he used to be on this autograph circuit. So what he used to do is in Chantilly, Virginia, right outside of D.C., they will have this big autograph circuit of Negro League baseball players and Major League baseball players. And they will all come together in this convention, sign autographs, have speaking engagements. And that's when I started really getting the love for the Negro League, even though I had it before, but really being around my grandfather, some of the old players, hearing some of the stories, understanding more about it, the history about it. And so I put my stuff on hold to get involved with the foundation. And as they say, the rest is history. I never did nothing else. So that's all I've been with the foundation since. And I'm just been truly a blessing. Especially when you have kids. I have my own schedule. At one time I had 3 girls in college at the same time. So it was good for me to be able to travel, to do what I wanted to do. Because if you had a regular 9 to 5, you know that you can't do what you want to do.
No, you can't.
So I think that's the most important thing for me, was the flexibility that I had having your own business, is the flexibility, in which that's priceless. You can't put a dollar on flexibility when you have kids.
Right.
Because if I had a regular 9 to 5, I would miss a lot of things. I would
Yeah.
miss a lot of things.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, it's been a blessing to do it. And so my grandfather kind of get everything going, the paperwork. I started a nonprofit. Once I got out of college, I started getting more involved. I started incorporating the programs. Originally, we were just strictly a baseball program. Then 2 years after that, we started incorporating educational programs. And then next thing you know, we're at 100 kids, we're at 200 kids. Now we're over 300 kids. And so it's been great to grow the foundation and see the level, how it has grown since then.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
I like that this is something that's I notice is very like Pittsburgh. There's a really good relationship between children and their grandparents here. I don't know what it is, but
I've noticed that as well.
There's this generation connection.
Mm-hmm.
Grandparents,
the continuity,
and a lot of people, have multiple generations living in households, and it's normal, which goes back to like early America, like early Americana.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting. So that's cool. It sounds like your grandfather was a really great.
My grandfather too. Is that. So my father was never around, so he was my father figure.
Okay.
And the other thing is too, like my father. So people always get this confused. My mother is the Gibson, not my father.
Oh, okay.
So when my mother and father were together, they were not married, and so my grandfather always believed in if you didn't get married, you shouldn't have the man's last name. So that's how I kept the name Gibson. So people always think my father's a Gibson. It's not my father. It's my mother who's a Gibson.
I see.
Wow.
Okay. Wow.
Okay. So speaking, this is my inner feminist coming out, but I also see that there's a strong, the women's voices are really valued here. Women are really strong here, I've noticed. I've seen the relationship.
We've both seen it. Yeah.
Between, with married couples where the women run the business and they kind of take care of everything. And, the men kind of just do the grunt work and put everything into place. So that's really interesting. So Gibson is actually your mother's last name.
And my mother is right in McKees Rocks.
Really?
Okay. She's okay. And she's still here?
2nd Street. Uh-huh.
Oh, we'd love to meet her. Oh my goodness.
We'll get the name of that street off the air, but
the address. Right. I'll give you the address. I'll give you the street.
The street, but not the address.
Yeah, not the address.
Okay, good.
The street. Okay. Well, if you don't repeat it. It's fine.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We got it. Wow, that's cool.
That's really cool.
Very sweet. That's amazing. Wow, this has been a really excellent conversation. I can't believe how quickly this hour went by.
I know.
Thank you so much for sharing all of this information with us about the foundation and the history of it, and especially some of your more personal anecdotes. I mean, it's really special.
Yeah, I'm going to bring up
we'll bring up the website one more time.
Yeah,
it's
up here.
We can show the celebration, or we can show
let's see that.
There's
that's
the celebration
the one.
for the Negro League.
Yeah, so let's go back down.
And then this is what the website foundation looks like.
Yeah,
please go there.
That was just our tournament we just had. The front page.
That right.
Right.
There.
Yeah.
Okay.
This person here.
Uh-huh.
She won our MVP card. That's her card.
Okay.
Whoops. Let me go back. Yeah. Sorry.
You can pause that screen too.
Yeah. Let me find it and then pause it. There we go.
Right. All right.
There. Yeah. There we go.
Okay.
So she's out of Canada, as you can see, the Montreal Expos, and that's her baseball card that she made of Josh Gibson. So with that,
really?
Yeah. This past summer we had a JG to help the campaign. We had a JG20 card art tournament, and so all these artists who does baseball cards, over 75 artists was involved in this tournament, and her card right there won the tournament.
Okay,
that's great.
That's awesome.
So this is her being interviewed in Canada.
I see.
Oh, that is so great. People, please go to the website and watch these cool clips. Watch this interview. Watch the scene from Blackish. This is really cool stuff. I mean, the fact that
I know, not to cut you off, Joe, but I know we got a few seconds left. Is it going to stop in an hour?
Oh, we just usually round it out in about an
Yeah,
hour.
I forgot to mention, and y'all probably seen this, that we do have a new mural of Josh Gibson.
Oh, right.
Right.
That's
right. We should talk about that.
Let me bring that up again. Hang on a second. Let me go there. Okay.
So
there it is. Okay, there it is. Okay, so where do I find that on the?
It's
here.
right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
The mural, right.
Okay.
There it is. Okay. Right.
I just clicked on it, read more in it, and it took me to another page, so I won't.
So
bother
you
with
can.
that.
Why don't you incorporate that page into this stream? Can you do that?
Yeah. Hang on.
Hang on one second. We'll bring.
Yeah, I forgot we had the mural. There's so much going on.
There it is. Paint mural right there.
Okay. All right. There it is.
So much to talk about. Awesome. And there it is. Wow. Cool. And there's the story about it. Yep. Right? Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So the mural is in the process of being painted, or has it already? It's done. It's done. Okay.
Yeah.
There it is. It's on the website.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me find it here.
And we can either go there.
Yeah, there
it is.
There.
Okay, that's a better picture. Wow, what a great Wow. And why have I not seen this?
Well, I heard about it. Well, I saw it on your website. Where in town is that located?
It's in Homestead, where the Homestead Grays played at.
All right. Okay.
Of course.
205. The address is 205 East 9th Avenue. It's actually the building. The company is called Voodoo Brewery. It's on the back of their wall.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Voodoo Brewery.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now is that out near the Carnegie Library that's out
Not
there?
far from Carnegie Library. So when you come across the Homestead Grays Bridge,
okay,
you just keep straight up and make a left one, because 9th is a one way. You got to go past 9th and make a left on 10th and circle back around.
Okay, right.
Got it. Okay. Well, this is really wonderful. What a great mural.
Yeah.
Wow, how thrilling.
I saw photos.
Beautiful.
I saw photos on your site that I meant to just hide this. There we go. I saw photos on your site of you at the unveiling.
Yeah.
Right.
So when was that?
Back in May.
May. Okay. All right.
May.
So a few months ago.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. It's been a really big year for you. This is incredible.
Well, that's what I said. I told you my buddy came with the slogan "Summer of Josh." It was
right.
Yeah. Well, there was one more thing that I wanted to bring up. You said I actually rode my bike past it at the where there were some plaques that were put up over. Oh gosh, along the river, there's a complex. There's a hotel there.
Oh, it's is it Station Square?
Station Square, yeah.
Station Square?
Oh yeah. So that's called Josh Gibson Heritage Park.
Okay.
And so we're still raising the funds for that, but that was supposed to open up last year, but due to the pandemic, we pushed it back. But yeah, that's also coming too.
Okay, good.
That's right there by Station Square. Yeah, that's right across from the Fullerton Hotel.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I made a point of, because I was riding out to the south side from McKees Rocks on the bike trail last year a few times to do some errands, and I made a point of going through there to see the plaques.
Right.
Yeah. So those will actually be paintings once they take the boards off.
Right.
I see. All right. That's great.
Wow. This is great. This is really exciting. Yeah. We are, once again, we are so thrilled that you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And please, people, go to the website, support the foundation, learn more about Josh Gibson and the work that the foundation is doing, especially for the kids.
Right.
This is really great stuff.
And that URL is once again?
Our website is joshgibson.org.
Okay.
Our MVP campaign is jg20mvp.com.
Okay. All right. Good. We'll put those in the show notes after after everything goes live. Right. I mean, we're alive now, but after we'll in all the various locations. So we're going to be, folks, you can tell your friends that it'll be on YouTube. It'll be on Rockfin for free. So that's rockfin.com/book of hours. It will be on Rumble eventually, and I think it's on Facebook right now too.
Right. Yeah. So plenty of places. So we're gonna. It's a little bit after the hour.
Okay. So, yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you so much.
Hope to see you guys soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what we're gonna do is just hold on 1 minute. Don't hang up.
Away.
We'll be right back with you.
We'll put you in the green room, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay. Wow.
Well, that was great.
Yeah.
If you guys, we won't take too long with this, but if you guys like these kinds of guests that have, really interesting backgrounds and, bring a sort of a richer context to, our country and
culture and everything.
culture, then make a donation or join Patreon or Rockfin, and we will do our best to get more guests like Sean Gibson on this program.
Yeah.
So far we've had some really interesting guests that have brought so much value to the current conversations that are taking place, and we have more guests to come.
Right. In fact, not next week. We're going to take a break next week. As we know, we might put something up, but we're not sure. But on the 29th, I believe it is.
Is it Dr. Northrup?
Dr. Christiane Northrup.
So Christiane Northrup has had multiple guests on the Oprah Winfrey Show.
Yeah.
And she
was a guest on the Oprah Winfrey Show.
Right. Yeah. And so she brings, she wrote a new book. She's been traveling. So we're going to bring her on and talk to her about health and some of the ways that, you can be healthy.
Her book is about women's health primarily. But we'll be featuring her. That'll be 11 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time.
Right. So please join us for that. But again, if you like these kinds of guests, please make a donation, join Patreon, join Rockfin, help support us. This is what we do.
This is what we do. All right, cool.
All right, guys.
Okay.
We'll see you next time.
Yeah. Let me bring up our outro, and we'll see you again for another Pullquote.
Thank you so much for joining today.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Book of Hours are artists here to empower and embolden your response to the constant negative sound bites that attack your news and social media feeds. In order to continue making the video essays and art you've come to enjoy, we need your support. Make a one-time donation or become a patron. Thank you.